I'm going to do an expression so we can use the concat function. I'm going to set it equal to this name property that we created. There's this afternoon's temp forecast. And then save that.
Oh no.
Oh, this has been a long stream.
Oh no.
We hit our trial timer.
Oh no.
Oops.
But hey, you can reset it as many times as you want, right? It's free.
Yep.
Yeah.
By the way,
Yeah, good plug for Ignition there.
go download Ignition. Develop a
There we
whole
go.
project.
And we're live.
What's up, everybody? My name is Derek.
And my name is Casey. Yeah. And we're here to bring you a new perspective. Apparently our notes
This
are
is
jacked up.
episode 4 of the show where we talk about the next gen features of Ignition. Botched that intro up.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you so much for the follow, Crash Chrome, all these new people. Yeah, so obviously it's been about a month and we're struggling a little bit, so we really appreciate if everyone just holds tight with us for this.
We had some technical difficulties.
We were having a lot of technical difficulties, but we appreciate everyone that's here with us right now. So, This week, as you can see, we are welcoming Nick. Nick, why don't you go ahead and tell us about yourself? What are you going to be working on today?
Okay. Hi, I'm Nick. I have been on the Ignition team for about 3 years now. And I will be developing a weather app using the National Weather Service's API.
Wow.
So yeah.
Awesome. Well, that will fit right in what we have been building.
Yeah.
If we want to do a quick recap, I can show,
Are you ready to do that, Derek?
Yeah, I can show what we have developed so far and where Nick's going to come in today.
I love that the stream closed captioner has joined the chat.
Oh.
We're not going to be using that today. So that's really awkward, but whatever, that's fine. All right, let's go ahead and switch to Derek's screen here, and there we go. So we should be able to see it. There, yeah, I see it.
Okay. All right. As some of you may remember, this is the Windows 11 inspired app that we've been building. Restarted this out on episode 1. Got all the CSS, the styles, kind of laid out the base app. We got this main desktop, which we've yet to do anything with. Then he came back on episode 2 and built this Bitcoin, what do you call this, candlestick graph. So as you can see, it's not doing too good. I think it's up since episode 2, which is good for somebody, but it's it's not looking great these last couple weeks. And then on episode 3, Mia came on and built us a Tinder inspired swipe widget, which, if you remember, you guys can go to this website, this idea suggestion box, drop in ideas. Maybe future episodes will do that. And then you can go in here and you can swipe left. Test feature. We're gonna deny that guy. It's a test feature. Or you can swipe right. Twitch widget. And then this is episode 4 with Nick. He's going to fill in this barren land of real estate here. We had this vision of having different widgets that you could expand and get more information with. So weather forecast is going to be the first one. We'll see what the next ones look like.
Yeah. So for the low price of, what do we say, 20 grand? It's a little quiet.
It's a little quiet?
Then you can purchase a spot on this. No, I'm just kidding. All right. I appreciate you guys letting me know if it's a little quiet or not. We had a bunch of issues with our sound, so do bear with us. The joys of this. If anytime it is too loud, please tell me, and I will tweak it as best as I can. Wait, that's why you only use cash and keep it under the mattress and out of the economy? Hey, there you go. Well, awesome. I think, are we about ready to go ahead and... Nick, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
No risk, no reward. YOLO. That's right. All right,
Yes.
I'm gonna yeet Derek out of here. And we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna connect to Nick now so we can see everything that he's doing. Flexware emotes when? Well, so the fun part about that is we have to hit 50 followers. So if you guys aren't following, there's no pressure, but do feel free to hit that little heart button. Oh, thank
Oh,
you,
there they are.
Taxi. Oh my
Nice.
goodness, here they all come.
Thank you for the follow. That's awesome.
Accumulate, Lawson. Got a lot of followers. Crash Chrome, Vinny, Nate, Indy Rock, Phoenix, all just from today. We really appreciate it, but we'll get emotes eventually. Oh, my
Yeah,
connection wasn't approved, Nick.
we need to do more
Hit,
shows before we can do
hit
that.
approve. Oh, here we go. Accept. There we
Yeah,
go. Can you see me now?
I can see you now, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, we got the little
Awesome.
follows, little alerts coming in. It's Tyler. Hey, Tyler. I
Right.
figured, but I didn't want to assume.
If you guys have questions while Nick's developing, feel free to throw them out there, and we'll ask as we
Yes,
get the opportunity.
definitely.
Ready? You ready for me?
Yep.
Yeah, I think we're
Okay.
ready for you to get going.
Cool. All right. Well, I will set the stage a little bit. So I did some pre-development for this. I'm not going to pretend like. So I have something in the oven ready to demo if we run out of time and things. So not gonna pretend like doing it all from scratch here, but what the pre-development that I have done is I have this tile, and then you click on the tile and it'll expand to fill this space, kind of like a Windows desktop. Um, so we have these two components here, and I can pull those up in the designer. So what those look like is I have this weather notification tile small, and then this big tile. There is some scripting set up to handle that switch between the small and big tile that I'm not really going to get into, but we just have a empty basically empty flex repeater here with the weather forecast header and this close icon, and then for the small tile we just have like a single label in the middle of this view. So there's that. So I'm going to pull up the API. This is the documentation homepage for the API. It has, overview. This API is free to use. Open data, free to use for any purpose.
I guess
Um,
if we could ask really quick, how did you choose this API?
because it was free to use.
Okay.
That was the primary factor that weighed into my decision.
Of course.
It's
Yeah.
free for the viewers as well. So
Yes.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. It's I mean, I wouldn't go so far as to say it was a lot of fun to work with, but it was cool.
Yeah.
So they have these examples that you can use to test responses from their endpoints. So here is when you try and get data for a new location, this is the API call that you're going to be using. So you just get your latitude and longitude.
And how would you suggest getting that information?
Google Maps.
Okay. Silly question, but I mean, most of us know how to do it right, but there might be
Yeah,
people who
no,
don't know.
and just to kind of illustrate, kind of beginning to end, how this would work for someone to develop this. So
Mhm.
out here, I'm getting the coordinates here, and I'm copy and pasting them to the clipboard, and then should be able to paste these in here. And hopefully this says Fishers. Yeah. Okay. So this is the response from the endpoint for that. Those coordinates. So our radar station is KIND, gives us our time zone as Indianapolis. It gives us endpoints to hit for forecast data, hourly forecast data, this grid data. I didn't really use this endpoint too much. Where to get observation stations, gives us our city and state, and I think that's all the properties that I used for this build. So next I'll show kind of how we can put this together. So if there was any feature of Ignition that is to be featured in this development, it would be this HTTP binding. I did some scripting, and like initially in the project I was doing a lot of like system.net.http get, but this HTTP binding is really nice. It has cool features. This cache and share is really nice. So it'll it'll cache the responses from the endpoints across all on your gateway for any prospective session. So if on my session I go hit an endpoint, and then Derek hits the endpoint on his session, he'll get the cache response from when I hit it, which is nice. And you can disable polling and all that. So nice, easy graphical way to set up these REST calls.
Yeah, that's really cool. I don't think I've ever actually used that. Derek, have you used this before?
Definitely not. Use scripting for API calls, but never
Sure.
have used the HTTP. I threw out the link to this page that Nick has, so if you want to check it out, get more information.
Oh, thank
The
you.
Ignition user manual is awesome, so any questions, refer to that.
It was good.
Yep.
Appreciate you doing that.
Awesome.
Advanced Ignition. That's right.
That's all we do.
Yeah. So I'm gonna start by doing development in the session custom properties and start working with these HTTP bindings. So I'll set up a weather property. I don't know if I can make this bigger. Not looking good. Right, change to an object, and then I have parameters. So I like to kind of segment some of the data. So I have parameters in one, and then the responses from the REST calls will be in another other parameters. So this is this will set up our like kind of initialization data. So we have longitude, latitude, and I'm gonna paste the coordinates I got from Google into, I might have installed on my clipboard, but I'm gonna get them again. Paste these here. And then I have bindings set up here. So longitude, do a property binding to coordinates. And then, well, okay, so we have value. So we want value.split. So we're going to split it on the comma. And then we want the index 1. And then I'm just going to convert this to a float.
Sure.
And my screen just died. Okay, that's fine. Never mind. False alarm. And then I'm just going to copy this binding, paste it, and then index 0 for the other one. So now we have our latitude and longitude. So then we need a response from reading my code.
You guys talking about pizza. It's too early for this.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me set this up in the script console. I have some code here. I think I'm just going to copy it over. So basically, so I have this. So this is getting our endpoint for the points URL. So that's the one that I have pasted in the browser.
Okay.
Here, and then I have these that are to parse the different endpoints that we'll be using out of that points URL. So I hit this endpoint, I get a response, and then I take that response and pass it into these functions that will get us the endpoints that we need to get more data from there. So
You're gonna test this in the script console, you said?
um
Is that what that was for?
yeah, I suppose I could test it in the script console. I was gonna just actually do it in the I needed those scripts, so let me get this get points URL.
Who tests
Sorry.
things anyways, right?
Yeah. Well, I have it in another window, so
Oh, I know.
I'm really just gonna be copy pasting.
Oh, this is anything like Mia's episode. We'll have a troubleshooting segment.
Yeah,
Oh no.
there might be some of that. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so the way I did this was I have a change script. Yeah, I got my change script here. So
F's in chat for Mia. Oh no. Sorry, Nick.
I'm reading chat, so I'm not.
We're just here to distract you.
Oh no.
Okay,
Oh,
so
sad.
this will be our change script. So we have a logger that we're using to log any error messages to the ignition gateway. This is a function that I write a lot in change scripts where I don't know, it can be kind of weird to get the values out of the property change script. So it's just a shorthand. So this is the latitude and longitude. So I'm getting value. So that's just the latitude and longitude for when this property changes. So I'll have that data, and then I'll hit that. I'll make this call to get the URL, like the endpoint that I need to hit for the given latitude and longitude, and then I will get a response from that endpoint. If I don't get a response, I'll just error out, and then I'll take that response that I get here, and I'll get the endpoint for the forecast, the endpoint for hourly data, and the endpoint for observations, which we'll use for I think I'm getting dew point, humidity, and
Okay.
something else. And then I'll just dump the response that I get from each of those endpoints into custom properties.
And then,
Session custom properties,
Oh.
right?
Yeah.
Yep.
then I was gonna ask, in case people don't know, you had that little logger error. Where does that go? For someone who wouldn't know.
Yeah, so that would go to the gateway web page.
And you don't have to show it right now either.
Okay.
It's just
Yeah, it's not
a
super interesting,
question.
but it'll go to a log on the,
Yeah.
the gateway that you can see.
Yeah.
In big red. This didn't work.
Just
Messed up.
for those that might not know.
So I went through and created all these properties, but I'm pretty sure that if I change this, it'll just create them for me. So I'm just gonna try that. And
So we do have a question from Chicken as well.
yeah, what's
Do you want me to ask you now, or do you want us to wait?
okay. No
See,
changes.
Chrome
Oh,
learned something. That's good. Well, I could ask. How would I ask it, and then you can either answer now or wait. So Chicken wants to know: do you have to define those custom props first, or do those auto create when you're setting them?
What do you mean?
Your session custom properties.
Yeah.
You have to create those, right?
Okay.
Yeah. I think so. I think I'm able to it'll create them from the script if I have all the necessary code imported, which I don't.
I think that maybe.
So
And
this is-
Chicken can comment as well if that's
We
what
will,
they wanted to know.
Yeah, it should create them if you create them from a script. It's not like obviously a great way to create properties.
Sure.
That's not how I did it originally, but
Mhm.
it I don't know. It's more of a quirk than a feature, I guess.
Sure.
Okay. No, actually, it doesn't create them, so I have to
Oh,
go through and create those. So cool. So props.
well, now we learned
Great
something.
question.
It is a really good question. Wish I could just like
Nah.
snap my finger and it would just do everything, you know?
I was thinking it wouldn't, just in my experience of having multi layers of projects
Sure.
that get inherited. You get all of them have to be at the top, so if they're missing, they don't get created.
Sure.
Okay, so change to object and then fork hourly URL. Forecast URL. I did not realize I didn't know how to spell forecast when I started this project. That was a
You didn't think there was
something I
any?
had learned. Yeah, that was a kid takeaway that I had.
Oh no. Well, then, the longer you look at a word, the weirder it looks.
Yeah, I wrote forecast more than I've ever written.
I was looking at the word applause earlier when I was looking for sound clips, and it was the strangest looking word I've ever seen in my life.
Okay, so I the change script worked. I just deleted a point of precision there, and then it updated the properties here. So now we have all of our endpoints populated, and it's populated to you know fishers. So if we entered other coordinates from somewhere else in the US, it would populate these endpoints with data relative to the coordinates that you've entered. So it's dynamic, which will be nice in the future.
Nice.
So now we need properties to actually store the response in the endpoints. So I have 4 of these. So I have points. I have forecasts. I have observations. I have forecast hourly. So these will all be the HTTP binding, as I had mentioned.
Oh, okay.
The URL we can just bind to properties. So we have points URL here, so I can just bind to that. And that's not good. What's this say? Connection reset. Okay, we got our data. I don't know why it was erroring out there, but just gonna paste these into all the other values here. Oh, paste binding. Sorry, paste binding. Paste binding. This is a shortcut. That's handy.
Such a good shortcut. It's
Yeah.
such a lifesaver, especially if you have so many repetitive things to do.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it saved me a ton of time there, but
We can pretend.
I still have to go in and change all these, but
Yeah.
And then now I don't have like an easy way of knowing which ones I did and which ones I didn't. But
We do have another question as well. While you're doing your bindings here, Lawson would like to know, does the Ignition Designer have a way to autofill these responses given an endpoint URL?
Autofill them as in, like, if I get nothing back from the server?
I'm not sure. You're getting all the hard questions.
Well, okay, so if I got nothing back from the server, I could write like Python scripting to, like, if I don't get anything back, fill it with this JSON.
Sure.
I could write in or script ways to handle it.
Okay.
Okay. So now we have, I believe all these are correct. Forecast hourly, observations, forecast, points. Okay, so these are just the responses that we got just turned into Ignition session properties. So we can access these from like any scope within perspective. We can get at any of this data. So the next thing I'm gonna do is start building UI around the responses we got. So the first place I'll start is the menu icon. In time here.
Okay, Derek is passing on another really tough one. From accumulate. What is your favorite color, Nick?
I like red.
Red.
He answered that so fast.
It's a nice color.
It's a nice color.
All right, so I deleted all the cheating that I had in there.
He was super confident in that one. Oh, you like blue? Okay. All right, we're gonna start a war here on the favorite colors.
I'm basic. Agreed, Crash.
Okay, so forecast we can bind to one of our session custom properties. So session. So this is from the forecast endpoint, and we need properties periods. So periods is a object that's returned in a lot of these from a lot of these endpoints. So it kind of follows a pretty general structure. So we get like a detailed forecast that just explains in textually, like a human readable way, what the forecast will be like. We get like a short description of the forecast. We get this icon, which I'll show in a second. We get the temperature unit. We get the name, as far as like the name of the time period. So which I'm going to do is build out like a 7-day forecast. So this will return this afternoon, Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, that sort of thing. We get a temperature. We get the start and end times for the period. You get a bit that's telling you if it's daytime or nighttime or Boolean. You get wind direction and wind speed. So the plan is to take this forecast data and populate this little weather tile here with the relevant data. So I'm gonna start with here. Let me show. Well, okay, I'll start with the header.
Sure.
And then we can get into some other stuff. So I deleted the label that I had here. I had this placeholder style class that I added just to so you could see the bounds of the component that I added. So I'm just gonna get rid of that. Well, I'll keep it for a second. And then we can add labels into this component.
So this is more of our basic, just kind of high level forecast, right? Or is this daily forecast? What is this little guy?
Yeah.
This would be what is populating this component here. So this would be like the forecast for today, this afternoon, like the most recent time period.
Gotcha.
Yep. So we have this binding here. We can get the name. So we have this afternoon, and then we can make another binding, or drag in another label. I just copied and pasted the label I had, and then this binding could be expression binding is handy for this. So we need the temperature. You get a little preview down here. So temperature is 86, and then we need units. I don't know how to type degree symbol, so I was Google it.
It's Alt. I don't remember. Oh, 0176.
I don't want to know.
Is it bad if I have like an Enye? Or,
Enye.
Yeah, for like jalapeno. It's like Alt 164.
Just for every time you write jalapeno, you
Don't quote me on that. I write it a lot more than you would think. Wait, Alt 246? Oh, duck. See, I may have missed this, but how often will the HTTP binding be refreshed? I.e., pull new data. So how often are your bindings pulling?
It is every time you start a new session.
Okay.
You can there's a polling thing that you can add, so you can poll like every 30 seconds or whatever. But temperature, the weather forecast is all made up anyway, so you don't. It doesn't change. It'll be fine.
Wait a minute. It
I think
never
once every
changes?
time you pull up the session, we'll be fine.
Do you have a 5-degree guarantee on this?
Yeah.
No.
I don't know.
Who can I complain to?
The government. It's all their fault.
Reese knows what the 5-degree guarantee is.
Oh. Yeah, he's in here lolling.
Climbing is fake. Oh no.
Oh no, what have we done? Oh no, chat's going ham. He's
So-
always right. That's right.
Sure, Mike.
Here we have an ugly forecast icon here. So we can stylize this some. Might be a good place to do the before and after.
Ooh. Oh no.
I don't know. Let me know when you get bored and we can do a before and after. But yeah, we can
I'm having a good time.
increase the font size. Font size to 32 pixels. I just came up with that. We can. Okay, the text is already aligned to variety. Oh, you know what? I think I had these fill up the whole space, and then I went like one by one and aligned text to the right. Shoot. Text. Right.
You talking about the text size got me thinking if this is mobile friendly or not. Have we? do you know? Bad question.
You know it's not.
Oh no.
Bad question.
There's no such thing as bad questions.
No, I don't know. It could be, but it's not how
Yeah.
I made it.
Using EM or something.
Yeah.
What a host. Oh no. Wait, so this is designed with CSS?
I'm an honest host.
That's for Nick to decide.
He did call me out and say I already knew
No.
though.
Oh no. Wait, did we answer that? No. Chrome wants to know if this is designed with CSS. Well, so this
Yeah.
is yeah. That's how it was worded.
Ignition is based on HTML5, so there's everything's based on CSS.
like
You can write like
C-
custom CSS files and stuff that apply to all your components and the views and things.
Which Derek, you can help me remember. I think Reese did that in the first episode. He was showing us that, right?
Yes. I don't know. Do we have a separate theme for the? I think we do, a new perspective theme. So you can switch between themes and use different CSS files.
Hmm.
Reese, you're in here. Can you confirm?
Yeah.
As we
I
wait.
We're
don't
not
have
developing.
I don't have the mental bandwidth to answer your questions I can't develop. So
Sorry.
no, it's fine. No, it's part of the fun. Watching me struggle.
Let's see. Who should I ban? No.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Some padding. That looks nice.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Oh.
Okay.
This is Nick's
That look good.
troubleshooting section.
Oh. Yeah. Especially, what's Thursday? It's 4 p.m. for me. I mean, you know, mental bandwidth goes out the door pretty fast.
Oh.
Not a front end dev. Oh no, Lawson. Yeah.
Oh, I was like trying to remember. what
Oh
this
no.
was.
I mean, you can kind of see what it says.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I don't want to blow this up.
It's all good.
Well,
Your flex repeater? What's going on? I missed it.
can't. I'm trying to get this to grow to the right size, and
You have
it's
binding on your grow, is that?
Are you
I'm
using,
comparing against my example
Ah.
to see what I did wrong.
using default height or anything on the Flex repeater?
Um,
For your little widget?
I don't know.
Oh,
Oh, here we go.
okay.
Nice.
Everybody, you didn't see that, okay?
This is going on the intro of the video.
No. Oh, and everyone's gonna. They're gonna
By
unfollow
the
us.
way.
They're gonna.
Are we live again?
Shameless plug.
We've been
Yes,
live the
we're-
whole time.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's embarrassing.
It's awkward. We're gonna fix
Okay.
it so it doesn't happen again.
Okay, cool. Okay, well I fixed my
Um,
component now.
Let's not have Nick do this again. I'm just kidding. I'm just
how is this-
kidding.
How is this me?
You're fine.
Okay, it looks like you fixed it though. Yeah.
It
I did
looks
fix it.
just fine. Oh
Cool.
yeah. So what was it?
I needed to set the default height to.
That's what Derek said.
Default.
He's a professional.
Oh,
What is
sorry,
this
I
little
was-
picture?
So, this is the image that we get from the API.
They all love you, Nick. It's okay.
I'm gonna use it to make a background for this component.
It's not very pretty, is it?
Where did you
No, yeah, it's
find
kind
the
of
world's
ugly.
smallest photo of a sky?
The API.
Oh, literally from. Okay.
If you're wondering where anything came from, it's from the API.
I'm Big Brian.
Nick's doing great. See, Nick's doing great. Derek. No, small brain. No, I'm just kidding, chicken.
All
Big
the
brain.
way.
Big Brian.
They're faking the technical issues to seem more relatable. Oh no. Buff engineer,
Yes.
please get out of chat. Yeah.
Overflow.
We don't want anyone to know that we're actually we're just all perfect. You can ban me, it's fine. Okay, hold on. A little
Just time up.
toast.
Just time him out.
I could. I'm not
It's all
going
right.
to.
Okay.
What a week.
Yes. Okay, so we fixed that height,
Looks
Yep.
good.
and now you're gonna slap that background on this guy.
Yeah. So the way I do it's a little hacky.
Oh.
Hacks. Okay.
Yeah. Please. I'm not even gonna explain why I do it this way. It's just
Oh.
it's the secret sauce.
Oh, do I need to turn the
Oh.
screen off so no one can see you because it's secret?
It's not that secret. It's
Oh,
just,
okay.
It's just I don't want to explain it.
Okay.
Okay, so this is a background image.
Uh-huh.
This needs to be a value. Okay, and then I bind this to the image
Okay.
that we were given by the. Oh, here they call it an icon. But okay, if you just do this, it doesn't work. So you have to do another expression binding or script binding, but
Mhm.
I've been using a lot of expression bindings here. They're easy. Shh. Okay. This is like I was like worried I wouldn't be able to finish this in time, and I was right.
Skim.
Oh,
It's okay. You guys will get the gist, and then I have like the pie in the oven that I'll pull out and show you like the finished product.
baking
In
stream?
the oven.
Oh,
So
that's-
here's the
that's
image. That
Beautiful.
looks cool.
Oh no. Ignition
Speed
speed runs.
Yes. That's actually a stream idea.
Oh no.
So I did some things to this. So I have the opacity set to 50%.
Okay.
To give it like a background vibe.
Mhm.
Oh, that's
Um,
better already.
I'm gonna send it back. I'm not
Yeah.
sure if it's on the back. Oh, wait. Send it back.
And you're just adjusting the Z or the Literally just sending it back.
Caption. I think it's right. I don't know. It seems like too bright, but it's fine. And then we have background size. So sometimes these images had like a bar at the bottom that's kind of ugly. So the background size I set to 100 and 120. So it like crops the bottom part of the image, and then now it like scales to the thing, and you can see it like fills up the component and gives you like a nice little
Yeah.
background. Yeah.
Looks nice.
Yeah, it looks way better than the original image.
Yeah. So the the one problem.
It's really cool. It does look really cool.
I'm gonna show you the pie in the oven real quick, just to
Pie in the oven.
Kind of want pie right now.
I have it like it's supposed to be to the borders of the component. I don't have that working, but I'm not sure. I don't have time to fix it at the moment. So there's that, and then now we have the notification tile big. So this is the one that you see when you click on it. So go back to our demo here. If you click on it, it pulls up this. I have a repeater. Oh, wow, I have a lot to do.
It can be a little long. That's fine.
Yeah.
If you don't mind.
But it's gonna be a lot long. This is like just getting started.
Oh no.
Oh no. Skim. All right, nobody
A lot
talk.
to skim.
We're just gonna crank the music up. We're gonna
Oh,
put our
okay.
hoodies on, and we're gonna jam and develop and watch Nick.
No,
Crank
but
out.
for
Sit
real
here
though, what do you want me to
silently.
do?
I don't know if I can do that. I can't be quiet.
Just keep going. I mean, we could go 5, 10, 15 over. If
Yeah,
you don't mind. That's fine.
I don't mind.
I don't think you're understanding how far behind I am.
Well, hurry up then, Nick.
No,
Just
but for real,
kidding.
should we just skip to showing off the app, or
When we
Good
show
show.
finished product?
Could
And
you
I
do the
can
flex repeater
walk-
for each day and just talk through that real quick, and then we'll do the pie in the oven?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Okay, I'll show the 7-day forecast tile. Yeah, I think I'm gonna move, copy, delete, and then content. I think I could do two. Let's do it like that. So there we go. And then I'm gonna copy this. And this is a 7-day forecast.
Uh-oh.
Alright, you guys can talk. I didn't mean to talk. I was just being very honest that I was not gonna finish this. I didn't think I could finish this in time. So if it's cool to keep going, we can keep going.
Sorry, Chrome. I have to turn that off. You're just excited. No, it's all right. This is exciting, and I'm sorry that Streamlabs decided to take away your excitement. I will fix that so that doesn't happen again.
So the 7-day, is it 7-day, 7-night repeater? It's just a copy of that main small widget, and it's just kind of
Yeah.
reformatted. Okay.
Yeah, because it's the same content, the same object that populates both of them. So, yeah, it's just the same data. It's just a little bit more, little more detail, but basically the same.
Yeah, the humidity and all that.
I have, this is another expression, so this is
There we go. Turned off the caps protection, so now excitement can be shown. Perfect.
So we need wind speed. And then wind direction.
Oh no. What have I done?
Okay, and then this content, on the left align, and then we don't need the temperature, and oh shoot, align center. I'm just gonna set this to auto. And save that. So there's a 7-day forecast. So then if we go to the weather notification big, as it is called, very sophisticated name, we can put on a flex repeater, which is there, and then make it grow. And we can populate it with data from our 7-day forecast. So dump in instances here. So this needs to, oh no, not wrap. We want a column and check my properties.
Are you looking at periods in your session custom property to get each one of those? Is each one of those a period, the day and the night?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so the period's like an object that's returned by a lot of the endpoints, and then yeah, we just point it to like a JSON array, and then it'll populate dynamically with the 7-day forecast that is returned by the API.
Okay. Cool.
Then I have 2 pixel padding on each element. I'm just gonna set overflow to hidden, and hopefully that fixes exactly this, and it doesn't. Awesome.
Hey, Crash. Yep. Check out that YouTube link right there. I think that is the
Yeah.
playlist for these episodes.
It should be.
No problem.
Yeah.
Can't get rid of it. Awesome.
Silly question. You don't have to like save first, right? Obviously not.
No,
Okay.
I think so.
No, I didn't. I don't think you're supposed to have to. Just being difficult.
Make it a little bigger. Yeah, easy enough. We'll just go with that.
Looks good.
Okay, so now we have our content. Well, okay, not the content, but at least a start. So we have these populating. Let's set overflow scroll. Ew, gross. Overflow. I'm just gonna ignore it for now.
CSS is gonna save those scroll bars.
Oh yeah.
What is wrong with 20 scroll bars?
Since I'm developing on my local machine, I don't have the CSS on like added to that style class, so
Mm.
no, it's
That was some of the technical difficulties we were having at the beginning. Nick could not connect to our server, so we were frantic.
That
No,
and
no.
Local
sound.
machine it is.
So let's set this binding up. So this is a session custom. So this is the forecast endpoint, and we need properties, and we need periods. So this is our 7-day forecast data. So if you like pull one of these up, well, I guess you don't get like the actual what's what's returned, but you'll see it here in a second. So we have content that's being returned by this endpoint. So we just need to put it in a format to populate this flex repeater. So this is how I do that. So I have period list is equal to value. This is just value is what's returned. It's what's passed into the script transform. And then this list will be the data that we populate the flex repeater with. And then I have for x, you can iterate over the what's returned by the endpoint here. We have an object that we're going to create. So we have instance style. Here, I'm just gonna copy it over. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
No, it runs some of the magic, but also
I think everybody would understand.
saves me from typing. So I'm creating an object here that is we're going to use for each one of these instances in this flex repeater, populate with content, and for each object that we create, we're just going to append it to this ret list that we have. Then instead of returning value, we're going to return ret. There we go. So there is our forecast data, and I just realized that this needs to be a parameter to the 7-day forecast. So right now each one of these has a binding and it's custom property that's bound to like the first element in that array, and we need to assign it dynamically. So that's why each one's showing this afternoon, but we need this. So I'm just going to copy this content and paste it here, and then bind this to the parameter. So now this is driven by the params and not the session custom property. So now this is showing the actual forecast data.
Oh, nice. Oh, I like those images.
Yeah.
Oh,
Of lightning.
Oh,
that's cool.
So did they all look as bad as the sunshine, partly cloudy one? And you made them look good with the opacity and.
Yeah, yeah. They all look kind of ugly, and yeah, I did some massaging to make it not so ugly.
Ignition saves the day.
Right.
It looks awesome.
Thank you so much for the follow, Kez. We appreciate it.
Kez.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you think they could do a little better with their images.
Yeah. So I also had to come up with a fix for this vertical bar that they put in the center. So they I don't know, I might be able to pull up one of them. So Sunday two,
Are they
three,
broken into like
4,
6
5,
hours or
6,
something?
7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7.
Is that supposed to be like, yeah, halfway
I
through?
pull this one up. It has it's like split, and then it has like this thing down at the bottom. That's what I cropped like in the first part. But I found some ways to massage the URL for this image to only show what's on the left. So you really only are getting like the data for the first part of the day. So it's maybe not quite as accurate of an image, but it's yeah.
What if someone wanted to? They could use their own images, right?
Yeah.
If you really wanted to.
If you really did, you could. So let's see how I did that. This one. I'm gonna take the image URL that I have and then pass it into a script transform, and this function. So I have a function that I wrote that will get like the root of this API. So it's just the api.weather.gov basically.
Okay.
And then oh, okay. So this is just cropping the here. I'm gonna write some code and then I'll explain it later.
Yeah, that's fine.
But, copy code. So, okay, so this is getting the root. This is taking the image path and then just cropping off the first part. So it's getting rid of the HTTPS // API weather.gov. That's all gone now. And then here I'm splitting that string on the slashes. So I can like address each part of the path independently. And then I'm just reconstructing the path. So I have the root, and then I'm just getting like the first 4 sections of that URL. I'm just like concatenating them all together. So I'm like getting rid of the in part of it, and then they also have a large image, and for some reason the endpoints don't return the large image; they return the medium image. So I replaced it with the large image, and this ret should be kind of the sanitized, doctored path. So,
Okay.
that one's not a problem, but the one I showed before, one for Sunday, which I think was this one. So you see how it shortens the URL.
Mm-hmm.
So now I can just take this, and then instead of binding it to view.custom forecast icon, I can bind it to the custom property that I created here. And now it looks nicer.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
So there we got rid of all that grossness.
It wouldn't be so bad if it was like diagonally. No. This looks kind of weird. Straight down the middle.
Right.
Yeah, no, it is weird, and I don't know. I didn't like the image enough to just like. It didn't match what you guys are doing here with the modern UI, so I wanted it to look a little cooler.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it looks great.
Yeah.
So now I have to figure out what I did wrong with these scroll bars. So I might just try.
Does that one just need to go away?
Y scroll. Okay, so I think I might just need to grow. Oh.
The famous O.
Oh boy.
So this property that I set to true for the one view doesn't work for the other view. This works, but now this looks gross again.
That's
Oof.
something else.
Yeah. Really don't know what's different between the two. Let's start.
Troubleshooting session 2.
Yeah.
Is the problem in your Flex repeater?
I don't know. But we can continue working on this view, and then we can wrap it up with the finished product,
Sure.
and show how we do the graph here. So, so this one. So we want a trend of the temperature data. To get like a forecast of like when, you know, the highs and lows of the day, basically. So we can drop in a time series chart. This we want at the top. You can set the sizing of it. I'm not sure what I set this. I set the 200 pixels here. Give it a save. See how that looks in the browser. So yeah, it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm going to.
You did bring a lot though. This could have almost been 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Could have been.
And I mean, yeah, if you want it to be, we could still make it. No difference to me.
That's pretty close. People are hanging on. It's after 5 and people are still here. We'll hang out.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna get rid of. I had a styling on this. I'm gonna get rid of the placeholder styling. So we have the repeater there, and then we have the trend that we just added in. So now we just need to populate it with data. So working with this can be a little weird, but we need axes configured. So I'm just gonna name this temp axis. Oops. Temp axis, and then we need trends. So I'm gonna add a new trend. So this will. I'm gonna rename this temp data, and then this will point to the temp data series. We'll use the temp axis. We'll have column, and the column's key will be temperature. Another word that it's hard to spell sometimes. Okay, so now we have that, and we can bind this to. So let's see. So I wrote a script that I need to pull in here. So So this is a scripting file that I started working on to um, parse through and manipulate this periods data that we're getting. So I wrote a function called get plot for period list, and it takes as arguments a period list. So that would be the like raw data that we're getting back from the API. And then I also had a start date and an end date, and this is to filter the period data that we get back. So I'm gonna go show what that looks like. So we're parsing through this forecast hourly data. We have properties, and then we have where we have Mike. It's tied to the right endpoint.
What is this? You're looking for a list of data points or?
Yeah, I should have like an array of hourly forecast data.
So it looks like our music is struggling right now, so I apologize for the absolute silence. I'm trying to fix it. It's one of those days. Hey.
Just a new custom property?
I don't know. I'm troubleshooting the custom property I had because it didn't look like it was returning the right response. But it was for a different endpoint. There it is. Periods. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, here's the period data. So we have an array with 156 elements, and each one is like a forecast. And there's temperature data that we're just trying to parse out of this. So we're just going to iterate through this array and get that temperature data and plot it is the goal. So oh, we're gonna bind. Oh, okay, we gotta write our script first though. So it takes a certain end date and it'll like filter the end result is going to filter to the given timestamp, but we are going to start with just dumping the period data like as is to this plot, and then we'll filter it later just to get kind of show our progress as we go. So we have a list that we're going to fill out. So this is plot data, and for this is like an for item in our period list. We are going to get a date time, and I have a function that I wrote to parse the date times that we get back from the API. So weather dot periods dot parse date, I can spell, and we're gonna parse start date from each of these elements, or start time. There's our date time, and then we're gonna convert it to milliseconds. This is a common date format that you'll need to use in perspective. Date.2 millis, date time. So this will be an integer. And then we'll create an object that I'm calling a data point, and it has time, which is going to be our date millis, and it'll have temperature, and sure, which needs to match the name of the key that we set up in our like XY component or graphing component, and then we'll need the period property or the temperature property from each of these period elements. So temperature. So there we go. There's a data point that we're getting for each period, and then if system.date is between, so we're just gonna test. Oh, okay. I'm gonna do this one later. This has to do with this date filtering. I'm just gonna comment it out. We don't need it quite yet.
Sure.
It's just a feature that's added in. And then we just need to append. So plot data dot append data point. And then we're gonna return plot data. So save this. I'm gonna see if it works in the script. No, I'm not gonna see if it works in the script console because then I'd have to get period list. So I'm just gonna we'll do it live. Oh.
Good luck.
So get period. So I'm copying this scripting function path and then selecting data here. And then let me see how I did this. Yeah, so it is, I did an expression structure binding, which isn't totally necessary to start, but to do this filtering, it was handy for that. So I'm going to do periods. I use this sometimes to get like if I want it to be dependent on like multiple properties and then there's like something more complicated than what I can do in expression binding, I'll kind of take all the properties into an expression structure and then have like a script transform that does stuff with all the properties I'm passing in. Um, so I can bind this to the hourly data that we're getting. So forecast hourly properties periods. So we're getting our period data, and then we can do a script transform. And this part will be easy for now. So since I'm just going to leave start date and end date as none with their default values. And then I'm just going to paste value. Well, okay, let's do this the right way. So period list is equal to value list or periods. So the content that you're putting in here comes in as a JSON or as like a dictionary. So then you can use periods as a key to get the value. And then if you just return this, you just get the period list. So, so we get that content return, but we want to pass this into a function to do other things with it. So I take this period list and pass it into this function. Okay, so it's saying I have no attribute parse date, so that's that function that I thought was there, but maybe isn't there. So let's check that out.
Copy paste.
It's here.
That's
Oh.
right. Oh.
Maybe just save. I'll try saving. That'll do the trick. Maybe I named it wrong. Oh, yeah, I did. It's util.
Oh no.
There we go. So there's our temperature data. The trend is kind of dark, so I'm going to change the color of the series to the trend. I don't remember where you go to do this. I think it's here. There we go. So we can change it to any color we want. I'm going to make it magenta. I want
Ooh.
something. Get it brighter. I don't know. We'll just leave it like that. So there we have temperature data. Not really how it. There it is. Okay, it's a little brighter. So we have temperature data there. It's trended over, I think, the entire duration of this forecast. So it's like a 7-day trend of the temperature. So you see like the day-night cycle and everything.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
yeah. So what I did on mine is I set it up so you could click on it and it would change the temperature data, change the bounds to whatever the bounds were for each component. Um, so I can get into that if we have time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Looks like we're pretty close compared to. Uh,
It happens. Discord is difficult sometimes.
Do the custom. Okay, so I set up custom properties on the view here, which looks like I forgot to
So
delete,
much for the
so we
follow,
can just
Matt.
use these. So these are default values that I set. They're bindings, but they're bound. Like it'll the bindings will take when the session starts, and then they won't be updated again. So it's how I'd like set like a default value. So these are custom properties on the view. So I'm going to bind this. I'm going to add custom properties or add elements to this expression structure. So start date and end date. So date range start and date range end. Okay, so then I can get start date is equal to value, start date, end date is equal to value, end date, and then I can just, since it's named the same, I can just delete the nuns and then it'll just pass it into that scripting function. Well, wait, there's more because I forgot. Well, not that I forgot, but I put off doing this part. So I need to go in and filter for the date ranges. So I'm going to filter to see if the date time I have is between um, basically the date time in the array that I created to
Hmm.
see if it's between the two timestamps. So let's do that. Um, so I'm going to take date time as the first argument. So date time is the argument that we are testing the betweenness of. So that's this one here. And then we have
Betweenness.
like that word.
It's good. I like that.
I just invented it.
Oh, trademark. Copyright, patent pending.
It's actually real easy. We just do if is between, and if it is between, we append. If it's not between, we don't append. So really easy
nice.
filtering
Okay.
function we
Cool.
added there. And hopefully that's the length. There we go. So we get for the next 24 hours. So date range stop is
Oh, nice.
oh, okay. It's a forecast, so it's ahead. So
Okay.
the start is now, and then this is bound to date range start, and then we're adding 24 hours. So it'll get us the forecast for the next 24 hours.
Nice.
Um, so I might have not deleted this. So there is a on click event on each of these 7-day forecasts that you're
Oh.
going to I wanted to develop on this stream, but forgot to delete. So I'm just going to show you that it's here already. So there's on click, and it goes into a script and it sends a message.
Hmm.
And the message is called message expand. Oh, not the same thing. Oh, okay, that's not true. That is okay. So the message expand is a message that's sent for the this component here. Like when you like
Okay.
expand collapse. So that's for something
Oh.
else. Um, so there's another. So okay, so you do get to watch me develop it. So don't miss out on any of the fun.
Is this a pop-up that you're talking about? An on-click pop-up?
So okay, basically, let me explain what I'm trying to do. So I'm not gonna click it because it's going to break stuff probably, but um, I'm wanting to change the date range of this weather of this trend here, so that when you click on it on any of these tiles here, it'll show the forecast filtered to like Monday's temperature or Tuesday's
Oh,
temperature or Thursday night's temperature or today's temperature. So you can
that's
like,
cool.
yeah, kind of navigate around that data set in like a little bit more intuitive way and not just see like wavy lines or have to
Sure.
use some sort of component. You can just you have these like kind of hotkeys to do it. Or I guess hotkeys not a great word, but so that's what I'm gonna do now. So I'm gonna send a message to um well, maybe I should set up the message handler first. Maybe this is actually set up. So this is actually set up. So there's a new start date message and there's an incoming date that I get that comes from the payload, and then I parse that, and then um, well, I parse it, and then I assign it to that date range start property that I showed before, and then there's a name that I'm assigning to. So that's going. I'm gonna. The idea is that we'll change the title of this, so it'll like say. Um, I think it's set up so it'll say like, oh, you're seeing temperature data for um, whatever day you have selected, basically.
Ugh.
That's this year. So this handler is already set up. So if you get a message, it'll assign the incoming date and it'll assign
Mhm.
um, the name. Um, so now we can go back to the 7-day forecast tile and then configure this on click event. So I'm just gonna delete this because we're not using it anymore and just create a new one. So we need a script and pretty simple. We just have a payload. We have date time, and the date time is the date time from the forecast property, start date, and then the name. So the name is what we're gonna set to like be the like it'll be like a subtitle on our view. So the name will be just this property here,
Okay.
and then we just need to send a message. So system.perspective.send message, and the message will be called new start date message, and the payload will be the payload dictionary that we just created. So that should be all we have to do. Um, so we can try that. Yeah. So it's changing the filter that we set up on the graph,
Oh,
setting it to the thing. And you can see this
Oh,
here.
nice.
that's so cool.
So we can add a subtitle um, to that way you can see which what forecast you have. So I'm gonna add a label. bottom. And the label needs to be 14 pixels. And the basis I set to 18 pixels. Okay. And then we can set the text. I'm going to do an expression so we can use the concat function. I'm going to set it equal to this name property that we created. There's this afternoon's temp forecast. And then save that.
Oh no.
Uh-oh. This has been a long stream.
Oh no.
We hit our trial timer.
Oh no.
Oops.
But hey, you can reset it as many times as you want, right? It's free.
Yep.
Yeah.
By the way,
Yeah, good plug for Ignition there.
go download Ignition. Develop a
There we
whole
go.
project.
Good.
So now it's updating with the little subheader there and the graph, so we can see our temperature data.
Oh, that's really cool.
That's pretty nice.
Nice.
Um, now,
And then I know you might have said this, are you clicking? Because they can't see your mouse.
oh, okay, yeah. So I'm clicking on each one of
You
these
are, okay.
elements. There
I
probably
figured.
should be a hover style or something on
Sure.
these. So yeah, there's probably some styling and some better UI design that could be adopted to make it more obvious that I'm clicking or that you can click. But yeah, just showing. Yeah.
Nice. Just wanted to confirm.
Yeah. No, that's
I
good.
don't know why Parsec won't show a mouse, but eh.
Yeah. So there are two other development tasks that I have to do. Um, so I can do those now, or we can kind of wrap up and show the end product. Um,
What do you
but
have left?
Yeah.
Maybe we could just talk through it quickly and then show the pie.
yeah, so basically, one of the endpoints that I pulled from was so the data that I got from the forecast endpoint, it didn't have humidity data and it didn't have um like dew point and like rainfall and those sorts of things.
Okay.
So the observations endpoint returns like historical data, so things that are like past things that are reported on, not future things. So I use the observations endpoint to get humidity, dew point, and one other. I didn't add rainfall in. It was difficult to. I couldn't find a way to get rainfall from the API,
Hmm.
but they have this precipitation last hour, last 3 hours, last 6 hours, but even like on days that I was developing on days that it was raining and it was still reporting back null, so I didn't include it. But yeah, so that'd be the one task to add that into as labels. And I mean, you've seen kind of the workflow. I'm just binding to these properties that you can see here in
Yeah.
the session custom properties. So I'm just binding to dew point here, just getting this value. I'm binding to heat index, getting this value,
Okay.
and um, I keep forgetting the other one. But yeah, so that would be the one task, and then the other task to demonstrate the dynamicness of it. I have set up to where you can pull up the ignition's map component
Mm.
and
Mm,
select coordinates on the map component and change your location and view temperature data from different locations.
cool.
So
It's really
yeah,
cool.
So you don't have to go to Google and copy and paste that.
your,
yeah, yeah,
your coordinates every single time.
yeah. So if people are using your SCADA app in different different parts of the country, they can get their temp data, which I mean isn't so crazy, and we've done projects like that. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
so if you'd like to see some development, I can dig into that, or I can just show off what I have.
Um, we're almost 40 minutes over. If we could just show the pie, and then we'll just be really good with our README.
Okay.
Explain it everything.
Yeah.
I think
And
that'd be
I have
good.
the designer on the other side too, so I can pull up the designer and show how some of the bindings are set up as well.
Yeah, if you just want to talk through them real quick, that'd be fine.
Yeah. So here's the working open close thing. Turned out nicer in my development than it did on the stream. And then I have this relative humidity, and the dew point and the heat index, and these are, like I said, historical values. So um, I'm not sure. You can pull up when the last time these were updated too. Um,
Mhm.
where it has it. Timestamp, yeah. So this is this is like GMT. So we're 4 hours behind this. So um, yeah, five something. Um, anyways, we have that data here, and then uh, we have the humidity, dew point, heat index, and then the other development task that I was discussing was the location selection. So you see here, I did a binding to um, what is returned from the points endpoint. So I have city and state, and I'm just concatenating those two properties together to get the location. And then I have a on-click event that pulls up a pop-up, and then this is just Ignition's map component. And you can select places around the country and get temperature data from different locations around the country. Um,
Nice.
the API has radar stations included that it'll include it as a radar station, and then when I hit the endpoint for the radar station doesn't appear to exist. So sometimes it returns null data for the observations, which is a little annoying.
Hmm.
Uh, but I'm sure there's things you can do to find like the nearest radar stations to you using like different endpoints and things. Um, I don't know why it doesn't do it automatically. So here's an example of that where it's returning null. It seems like a pretty common problem that I've been having with it, but you still get the temperature data and you know, your trends and things.
Yeah.
Maybe we can pick somewhere that might have weather that's drastically different than ours, like somewhere down here. So a lot of storms here in Arizona. Maybe pick something that's a little hotter. So it's returning like these
It's a little toasty there.
yeah, you're
Eek.
getting nuclear
Oh.
radiation on a Wednesday.
Oh my
Nuclear
goodness.
radiation. Just gonna see how hot is it where I am.
Oh,
70s.
wow.
Oh yeah, yeah. I forgot we had someone remote on here. You want
Okay.
to look up your weather forecast, Casey?
Oh no.
I'm near Fargo. I'm in Minnesota though.
I try Fargo. I
Oh,
was
yeah,
returning
Moorhead. Yeah,
Moorhead, Minnesota.
that's where I am. There you go. Yeah, 77 or
See temperature
so.
forecast for the rest
Sheesh.
of the day.
Nice.
That's so cool.
It's basically 110 for Fargo.
Basically. That's nice out.
Cool.
But yeah, that's
Oh,
what
this
I
is
got.
awesome. Very cool.
Yeah.
That was a
Does
fun project.
yeah, no, this is great. Great addition to this community project that it's gonna keep going. So hopefully we can see some other cool widgets in there with it soon. But yeah, this is a great start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chrome is liking it.
Yeah.
Feisty came in. Welcome in.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for hanging out. We're quite a bit over, but this was a really cool feature to add. So, Nick, you did say there was a lot. You warned us.
You-
So,
we
Yeah.
we were warned.
Yeah.
I'll
I
Was there anything else you were gonna show? Otherwise, I can switch back to our just chatting screen.
No, I don't think so. That was
Okay,
all the development I had. Yep.
it's awesome.
cool. Thank you, Nick.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
great.
Yeah.
we appreciate it. Did anyone? I did not see any more questions, so I'm assuming there aren't any at this time, since we kind of answered them as we were going, right?
Mm.
So we could probably go ahead and wrap things up. I guess we wanted to, thank everyone that tuned in with us today. Everybody that was lurking and hanging out, we really appreciate it. Definitely don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. That's where all of our past streams will go. Which Derek just did the socials command, so they're all on there. Yeah, so if you want to see any upcoming events that we have going on, you can go to our events, and then we do have in-person training. We do have some spots available for that as well.
9 spots, I believe.
9
Yep.
spots, which they just did one. Was that last week? I
Last
think.
week was the last training. Yeah, it was
Yep.
awesome. We had 24 people. So,
Yeah. So there's that information. And just a reminder, we're gonna go ahead and upload the resources from today. They will be on the Ignition Exchange. So we'll get that uploaded within a few days, but I don't remember. It takes them a little bit to get it actually added in, or approved, or whatever it is that they do.
yeah.
Which, thank you, Derek, for doing
Yep.
that.
Takes a bit for him to get in, like she said, but we'll get on that right away. Cool.
And
I think that's
you want me to do the other part of the ending?
yes. I don't know what
Okay.
you're talking about.
Nope. Okay. Well, so basically, if you enjoyed watching us today and you haven't
Oh,
already followed our channel, go ahead and hit that heart. You'll get go live notifications next time we go live, which, as a reminder, will be Thursday, September 29th, 4 p.m. Eastern. So yeah, we really appreciate everyone, and we hope you have a good night. And Derek, you want to sign us off?
I do. Did we say
Oh,
what the next feature is gonna be?
we did not.
Oh,
No,
okay. We're
I
gonna have Eric with a drag and drop feature he's been developing for some
ooh.
time. So he's looking to finish it up for this next episode.
So drag and
Um,
drop.
so definitely look out for that one. It's
First,
gonna
I
be
thought
I'm
you
pretty
said
cool.
excited to see
dragons.
Eric's.
Yeah, drag and drop in perspective. So
Awesome. Well,
very cool.
I look forward to
Well,
that one.
yep. All right, guys. Well, thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you guys
And
again. And and until next time, keep on developing.
bye.
Yeah.
Bye.